What if I told you that right now, at this very moment, there are billionaires spending millions of dollars every year? Not on cars, not on mansions, not on yachts, but on trying to live forever. That the world's wealthiest people have discovered something about aging that they do want you to know. This isn't about expensive skincare or plastic surgery. This is about rewriting the fundamental code of human biology and the trillion-dollar industry that's quietly emerging around it. Before we dive into this investigation of the rise of longevity tech, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because what we're about to uncover will change how you think about life, death, and everything in between. The promise. Alright, so here's the thing. Every second, 2 people die on this planet. But what if I told you that might not have to happen anymore? Right now, in labs backed by some of the richest people on Earth, there's this quiet revolution happening. We're not talking about curing cancer or fixing heart disease. We're talking about something way bigger. Something that could fundamentally change what it means to be human. Scientists are literally trying to undo aging itself. And you know what? Some of them think they're actually onto something. From Silicon Valley to Switzerland, there's this new generation of researchers, tech moguls, and what you might call renegade physicians who believe the human body has like a hidden reset button. And they're convinced they've found it. The hidden world. So let's talk about who's actually doing this stuff. You've got Google's Calico division, which has been mysteriously quiet about what they're working on. There's Altos Labs, backed by Jeff Bezos himself, that just raised over $3 billion. $3 billion. For a company that most people have never even heard of. Then UVA got these Harvard labs doing gene reprogramming research that sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. One startup claims they've actually reversed aging in mice. Another one just raised $270 million without even having a product yet. That's wild, right? But here's where it gets really interesting. There's this guy, Bryan Johnson, and he's spending over $2 million a year trying to make his body biologically younger. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds crazy. But here's the thing. It's actually working. This dude has the heart of a 37-year-old, the skin of a 28-year-old, and the lung capacity of someone half his age. He's literally aging backward. And he's documenting the whole process. The science, okay? So how does this actually work? Well, there are a few different approaches, and they're all pretty middling. First, you've got something called These are drugs that basically hunt down and destroy old, damaged cells in your body. Think of it like cleaning out the junk in your garage, except the garage is your entire body. Then there's gene therapy. Scientists have figured out how to reprogram cells to act younger. They're literally rewriting the genetic code that tells your cells how old they are. It's like hitting Ctrl-Z on aging. There's also this whole thing with NAD boosters, rapamycin, and metformin. These are compounds that seem to slow down the aging process at a cellular level. Some of them are already FDA approved for other conditions, which means people are using them off-label right now. And don't even get me started on plasma therapy. Rich people are literally getting blood transfusions from young, healthy donors. It sounds like vampire stuff, but the science is actually pretty solid. The elite playground. Now here's where things get a little uncomfortable. This isn't some global health initiative. This is an elite playground, and most of us aren't invited. Many of the most promising anti-aging technologies, gene therapies, advanced diagnostics, personalized medicine protocols, they're not accessible to regular people. They're not regulated properly. They're not even tested on the general public. Instead, they're being quietly tested by the wealthy, for the wealthy. You've got these exclusive clinics in Switzerland, Mexico, and even right here in the US, where millionaires are guinea pigs for experimental treatments that cost more than most people make in a year. Meanwhile, and this is the crazy part, while the ultra-rich are extending their lives, the average American's lifespan is actually going down. We're literally living through the biggest health disparity in human history, and most people don't even realize it's happening. The inequality problem. So let's think about this for a second. What happens when aging becomes optional, but only for some people? We're not just talking about the rich living better lives. We're talking about the rich living longer lives. Way longer. Like, potentially hundreds of years longer. Imagine a world where your wealth doesn't just determine how you live, but how long you get to live. Where time itself becomes a luxury good that you can buy if you have enough money. Because that's where we're headed. The first longevity treatments are going to cost hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of dollars. By the time they trickle down to the rest of us, if they ever do, the wealthy will have already had decades or centuries of extra life to accumulate even more wealth and power. The Bryan Johnson case study. Let's go back to Bryan Johnson for a minute. Because his story is honestly fascinating and kind of terrifying. This guy wakes up at 5 a.m. every day. He takes over 100 supplements. He works out for an hour. He eats exactly 1,977 calories of very specific foods. He goes to bed at 8:30 p.m. with a sleep tracker monitoring his every breath. He gets regular blood tests, Mr. Is, ultrasounds, and genetic analysis. He has a team of doctors monitoring his biological age in real time. And you know what? It's working. His rate of aging has slowed down by about 25%. But here's the thing that really gets me. Bryan Johnson isn't just trying to live longer. He's trying to become, in his words, the most measured human in history. He's turning his entire life into a science experiment. And the results are undeniable. This guy is literally aging backward, and he's doing it in real time, with data to prove it. The investment boom, the money flowing into this space is absolutely insane. In 2023 alone, longevity startups raised over $8 billion. $8 billion. That's more than most countries spend on their entire healthcare systems. You've got venture capital firms that specialize exclusively in longevity investments. There are hedge funds betting on which anti-aging technologies will hit the market first. Even big pharma companies are pivoting their entire research divisions toward longevity. And it makes sense, right? If you can create a drug that extends human lifespan by even 10 years, you're not just looking at a blockbuster medication. You're looking at the most valuable product in human history. The regulatory Wild West, but here's where things get sketchy. The FDA doesn't really know how to regulate longevity treatments. Aging isn't technically classified as a disease, so how do you approve a drug that treats it? This has created this weird regulatory gray area where a lot of these treatments exist in legal limbo. Some companies are running clinical trials. Others are selling directly to consumers through wellness clinics. Some are operating in international waters, literally on ships to avoid regulations. It's like the Wild West out there, and the guinea pigs are people with enough money to take the risk. The side effects nobody talks about now. Let's talk about the stuff they don't put in the marketing materials. Because extending human lifespan isn't just a technical challenge, it's a social one. What happens to retirement when people live to 150? What happens to marriage when till death do us part might mean 200 years? What happens to career advancement when your boss might literally never retire? And that's just the beginning. If we solve aging but not inequality, we could create a world where there are essentially two different species of humans, the immortals and everyone else. Some researchers are already seeing troubling side effects in longevity treatments: increased cancer risk, autoimmune problems, psychological issues from extended lifespans. One study found that mice treated with certain anti-aging compounds lived longer, but developed severe neurological problems. Another found that extending lifespan in lab animals led to increased aggression and territorial behavior. The psychology of immortality. Here's something nobody really talks about. The psychological impact of potentially living forever. Human psychology is built around the concept of mortality. Our entire sense of meaning, urgency, and purpose comes from knowing that our time is limited. What happens to that when time becomes unlimited? Early studies on people undergoing longevity treatments show some interesting patterns. Many report initial euphoria, followed by a kind of existential crisis. When you have potentially centuries ahead of you, what do you do with all that time? Some researchers believe that extreme longevity could lead to new forms of mental illness. Others think it could fundamentally alter human personality and relationships. The global implications. Let's zoom out for a second and think about what this means on a global scale. If longevity treatments become available, we're looking at potential population growth that could strain every system on the planet. Food, water, energy, housing, jobs. Everything would need to be Some countries are already planning for this. Singapore has invested heavily in longevity research and is developing policies for extended lifespans. China is pouring billions into anti-aging research as part of their national strategy. But other countries, especially developing nations, could be left behind entirely. We could see the emergence of longevity havens where the wealthy go to extend their lives, while the rest of the world continues aging normally. The current state of the science. So where are we right now? Honestly, closer than most people think. Several longevity treatments are already in human trials. Senolytic drugs are showing promising results in early studies. Gene therapy approaches are moving from mice to primates to humans. Some researchers believe we could see the first FDA-approved longevity treatment within the next decade. Others think we're still 20 or 30 years away. But pretty much everyone agrees that it's not a matter of if, but when. The question is whether we'll be ready for it when it arrives. The moral dilemma. Here's the uncomfortable truth. We're essentially playing God with human biology, and we have no idea what the consequences will be. Some ethicists argue that we have a moral obligation to develop longevity treatments. After all, aging causes immense suffering and death. If we can prevent that, shouldn't we? Others argue that death is a natural part of life, and that extending human lifespan indefinitely could have catastrophic consequences for society, the environment, and human meaning itself. And then there's the equity issue. If longevity treatments are only available to the wealthy, are we essentially creating a new form of apartheid based on lifespan? The tipping point. We might already be past the point of no return. The amount of money, talent, and resources flowing into longevity research has reached a critical mass. Even if some treatments fail, even if some companies go bankrupt, even if some approaches prove dangerous, the overall momentum is unstoppable. Too many powerful people have too much invested in this for it to just go away. The question isn't whether we'll develop effective longevity treatments. The question is what kind of world we'll create when we do. The future of time, so here we are, standing on the edge of potentially the biggest transformation in human history. The technology to significantly extend human lifespan isn't science fiction anymore. It's science fact, happening right now in labs and clinics around the world. But this technology isn't being developed for everyone. It's being developed by the wealthy, for the wealthy. And that could create a future where time itself becomes the ultimate luxury good. The first person to live to 150 might already be alive today. The first person to live to 200 might be reading this right now. The first immortal human might already be getting their first longevity treatment. But the real question isn't whether we can defeat aging, it's whether we should. And if we do, who gets to live forever, and who doesn't? Because once we cross this line, there's no going back. We'll have fundamentally changed what it means to be human. And we better hope we get it right. What do you think? Are we on the verge of the greatest breakthrough in human history? Or are we about to create the greatest inequality in human history? Maybe both. Let me know in the comments below. And if this video opened your eyes to what's really happening in the longevity space, make sure to share it with someone who needs to know. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the technologies that are reshaping our world. Because the future isn't just coming, it's being bought and sold right now. And you deserve to know who's writing the check. Thanks for watching the rise of longevity tech. Stay curious, stay informed, and remember, every day we age is another day closer to the day we might not have to.